Welcome back to the course Innovating with Capella. In this section of the course, we're going to talk about defining the COTS and non-developed items. And these are items that basically that are either commercial off-the-shelf items, basically something that's already been developed, or ones that are non-developed configuration items, basically items that you may have developed previously for a project. In this case, we're going to work mainly with COTS, not any non-developed items. That would be more common if we were going to reuse something. I'm not going to do that. This is really the final phase. As you can see in the diagram, we've been viewing the component item breakdown structure frequently, so I'm not going to even have a section for that in the course material. As you'll see in this example, we'll be going back and forth as we have done before. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to define the COT items for the telemetry GPS system, and then define the COTS items for the base station. So we're going to do that, go back to the EAB diagram, structure diagram, and we can also look at the PAB, and we'll see here that we have that Arduino 101 as a COTS item that we're going to purchase and drop on the system. So I'm going to find that here. Here's the COTS item. Actually go back to the EAB. So here's the COTS item here. I'm going to drop that inside of the PCBA board. Okay. And we're going to call it our Arduino 101. And we're basically going to make that a subcomponent then of this one here. So it means you have to have that item, the configuration of that. This item is dependent upon the configuration of that item. It's kind of the way we're looking at it. Now, one thing I did notice is that we had one thing that was an antenna here. And that antenna actually is a COTS item. So one thing we can do, a very simple way of changing the state of it instead of changing the entire object, is to go over to this view here and go down to the LoRa ant, an object right there, open it up, and I can just very quickly just change that to a COTS item. So there's the COTS item, and then that'll just change the designation up here that easily. Okay, so that one I'm changing. I'm going to also change this one here. The antenna for that. So go to the same thing. I'll navigate to it in Project Explorer, then go to this antenna item, and we're going to call that a COTS item. Again, we don't have to develop it. We can just go purchase it. The other things that also can be done is that we're going to now have this. I go back to this PAB view. You'll see that I have the transceiver for the LoRa. So both transceivers can be brought in also. And let me I'll change the name here, knowing that it's going to be hard to tell the difference. We're going to call this base transceiver. And so then I'm going to go back to the EAB, and we're going to add that also to the PCBA board, another COTS item. And again, these are bigger items than just like parts and components. There'll be other small components on the PCBA, but since the size of this component is notable, we're going to actually call it out as a configured item, as opposed to not. It's just like what we would do for parts that we were putting together. The whole assembled board would be a part. Now this thing is going into that board, so we're tracking it as kind of a major item. There's a lot of flexibility on what companies do with this and how you may want to treat it. Personally, I like to show as much information as possible. So this one here would be the transceiver, and we'll do that over on the base. And then I'm also going to have in here, this guy also has a particle. Photon particle is a small microprocessor. Okay. And that's been created. So then with those two things created, we'll go ahead and do the assignment to them. And we can do the assignment a couple different places, but we'll go back to the CIBD to do the assignment. So you can see the photon particle now is here. And here's the photon particle. That photon particle is part of the base PCB BA board. This guy here is part of that. Looks like we got a little mix up there on that one. And there's the LoRa. I don't think I need that one. That was supposed to be the antenna. That's what that is. We don't need that one. That one goes away, and let's go over here to this guy. Move this object out of the way there. So there's the Arduino 101. There's the LoRa transceiver. Here's the photon particle. And that's the LoRa transceiver there. Okay, good. And that's the COTS. We can clean up the names. There's the antenna that we have on that guy. Here was the antenna here. Okay, good. So now I'm going to go in here and add the assignment to that. This is going to be the base. So this is the base transceiver. Okay. And this is the photon particle. Yep, there's that one. And here we got the other transceiver. There it is. And here's the Arduino. Okay. And we've now have the mapping of all those things, two things that we wanted to map. And that gives, now what you can do is you can add pictures to things. One easy way to add pictures is to, there's a setting on the style that you can add your own icons for things. That's one way to add a picture to it. So I can go to properties over here, style, and you'll see that there's been pictures added to some of these objects. That's one way. Another way is, so like this guy here there's the image for the workspace, so I can assign an image to it. Okay, that's one way to do it. There's other approaches too. You could have a picture underneath it if you wanted to, but there's different ways to add the images to the objects. Okay, and that pretty much concludes this section, and thank you for all the lessons. We'll probably do a wrap-up message in the later in the sections. Thank you.